Am I visible? Are you able to see me? Counselor Samad, Walaikum Assalam. Good afternoon to all of you, and I welcome all of you. Walaikum Assalam, Walaikum Assalam. Inaya Khan, Walaikum Assalam. Shahid Khan, Walaikum Assalam. Mir Fiza, Walaikum Assalam. Imran Bhatt, Walaikum Assalam. Shaista Ali, Walaikum Assalam. Wasim Ahmed, Walaikum Assalam. Rabia, Walaikum Assalam. Mir Kaisar, Walaikum Assalam. Walaikum Assalam. At your places. I'm fine. Walaikum Assalam. Sami. Awais Shirwani, Walaikum Assalam. Bhatt Musab, Walaikum Assalam. Lailatul Neha, Walaikum Assalam. Nadeem, Walaikum Assalam. I'm fine. Video is not clear. Is it? Isn't the video clear? Please mention. Shaista, Walaikum Assalam. Kausar Samad, please check your network. The video is clear. There is no technical glitch as such. Always videos is not clear. Please check your networks. I think from my side it's clear. Wajahat Khan, Walaikum Assalam. I'm fine. How are you? Please re-enter again. The others are saying that it's clear. Okay, fine. So today we are going to start your last unit, which is in your syllabus, and that is the diary of a young girl. Now, first we discussed poetry in your class. Then from poetry we moved on to the travelogue by Pico Iyer. Then we discussed the autobiography, and now we are encountered with a diary. Now, today we are going to start this unit, the diary of a young girl. But before we start this, you must know what is a diary writing. Diary writing is a sort of an autobiographical form of writing. You must have heard that some people have this habit of writing their feelings, writing their day-to-day happenings on a diary. So that form of writing in a literary category is called as the diary writing. So basically what happens in a diary is that the writer, he or she, they express their feelings and experiences. In a way, they have this diary as a companion, and whatever happens to their life, they usually have this habit of mentioning it in the diary. So this diary, it keeps a day-to-day record of their everyday happenings of life. So yeah, in a way, this diary, it helps the writer feel a little unburdened. They pour out their emotions in this diary. So when we talk about this diary of a young girl, which we have to study, same happens here. This little girl, she pours out her feelings in this diary. In a way, this diary becomes friend of Annie Frank. So we have various types of diary writings, such as we have a travel diary, we have a food diary, we have a work diary, etc. So if someone maintains a travel diary, he would obviously write his experiences during the travel. And if someone maintains a food diary, they will write about different types of food and all those things. Now, nowadays, this diary writing, it has changed a bit because the technology has advanced. We are more online, we are more on the virtual platforms. So this habit of diary writing has changed. Obviously, people still nowadays they maintain their diaries, but the focus has shifted now. People usually what they do nowadays is they do this what is called as vlogging. So they record their videos and they put it on the social platform, and they share their experiences with, they have a particular group of audience, and with them they share their feelings, they share their experiences. So even you have a personal blog nowadays, you write that down and people they watch it, people they notice it. So the times have changed, obviously, but that is a form of a diary writing. Then let's quickly move on to the text. You'll take out page number 31 of your text. Let's uh, check out the biography of the author. Annie Frank, she was born in 1929 and she died very young in 1945. She was just 16 years of age. Was born in Frankfurt, Germany. Her father, Otto Frank, was a member of the Jewish business community. Fearing persecution at the hands of the Nazis, he went to Amsterdam, the Netherlands, in 1934 and established himself in the food production business. Now, all these happenings which are mentioned in the diary, they take place during the Second World War. As you must know about the history, that Adolf Hitler, who was the head of the Nazi party of Germany, he was against Jews. He killed them. You must have heard about the concentration camps. Those were the places the Jews were taken to. They were made to do forced labor, and most of them were killed there in the concentration camps. They were gassed to death. So, in a way, Adolf Hitler, he just hated the race of Jews. For him, his race was superior, and he wanted all the Jews to be killed. So, the diary of a young girl, in a way, becomes it becomes a sort of a mouthpiece which tells us about the situation at that time, what Jews experienced, because Annie Frank, she herself was a Jew, and they had to hide from these Nazis because they had a fear that they will be killed. So, with the invasion of Holland by Germany in 1940, Holland is the present day Netherlands, things began to change for the family. The imposition of anti-Jewish measures and the deportation of the Jewish people to extermination camps compelled Annie Frank to leave the Montessori school she studied in for the Jewish Lyceum. So she changed her school. She was admitted in the Montessori school, but because of this fear that they will be killed by these Nazis, she had to change her school. So she studied in for the Jewish Lyceum. Lyceum is a school. In 1942, Annie's sister was sent a call-up notice by the SS, the Schutzstaffel. This Schutzstaffel, it was a paramilitary organization, and it was headed by the Adolf Hitler, an elite guard created for the rounding up of the Jewish people, and they had this job of killing the Jewish people. And the family went into hiding in a building that served as a warehouse and office for her father's business. Now, when Annie Frank's sister, she got this notice, they went into hiding. This was a habit with the Jewish people because the Nazis, they were after them, and they would often go into hiding. Same happened with Annie Frank. She and her family, they went into hiding, and they went into hiding in a warehouse where where her father used to work. In this secret annex, they were soon joined by Otto Frank's business associate, and in this secret hiding, they hid in the warehouse and they were joined by the business associate of Otto Frank, Mr. Van Daan, his wife, and their 15-year-old son Peter. Later, they were also joined by an elderly dentist, Albert Dussel. All of them received support from Otto Frank's Dutch associates and employees who not only brought them food but also kept them abreast with news of the day-to-day events in the city. It was during their hiding in the secret annex that Annie Frank, then a 13-year-old, wrote her diary, later titled The Diary of a Young Girl. And it was during this phase of her life when they went into hiding because Nazis, they were again after them. It is during this time that she wrote this diary, which is in front of us. In 1944, information about their hiding was leaked, and in 1944, this information it was leaked by a Dutch informer, and they were taken to Gestapo headquarters in Amsterdam and then to Auschwitz in Poland, because most of the Auschwitz is a city in Poland, and during that time, most of the concentration camps they were in Poland, and they were deported there because someone informed that their hideout placing is this, and they were deported from there and put into the concentration camp in Poland. While Mrs. Frank died in the infirmary is a clinic, she died in the infirmary barracks at Auschwitz in 1945. Otto Frank survived and was freed by the Russians. Only their father survived, and he was ultimately freed by the Russians. Otto Frank survived and was freed by the Russians. Before she could reach the age of 16, Annie too died at Belsen. Belsen was another concentration camp in Germany. So at the age of 16, she died, Annie Frank, quite young. Nevertheless, she immortalized herself in the literary world by providing a valuable document about the Nazi victimization of the Jewish people. So this is a little biography of Annie Frank. So they were Jews, and the time she wrote this diary, Nazis, they were after them, they wanted to kill them, and they had to go into hiding. So they hid themselves in a warehouse where her father, he was working, and with them the other associates, the other friends of her father. But ultimately in 1944, I guess, this news was leaked. Some informer, he leaked this news that they were hiding in a place, and then they were deported and put in a concentration camp. Ultimately, Otto Frank, the father of Annie Frank, he survived. All the other, they were in one way or the other form, they were killed. And this writer of ours, Annie Frank, she died at the age of 16. And you have to keep in mind that it was her father that made it possible that this diary was published. So what do we see in this diary? We will see how a 14-year-old girl child, she expresses her feelings. She makes this diary her friend. Okay, she talks about various situations, the present day situations at that time, and she talks about the war. She talks about the outcomes of the war. She talks about the freedom of an individual. She talks about the rights of an individual. All these things you will get to see within the diary of Annie Frank. So in a way, it becomes a document which shows the situation at that particular time. It shows the emotional feelings of a 14-year-old girl. It shows, that there was no one who could listen to her. There was no one who could, feel, who could empathize with this young girl. Now, such was the fame of this diary that first it was published in 1945, and it was the father of Annie Frank that made it possible that this diary was published, and then it was published in 30 countries. Such was the popularity of this diary that it was published in 30 countries, and it was universally acclaimed as a commentary on the Nazi era. You'll see the happenings, whatever took place in that particular era, that is mentioned within this diary. And then in 1955, a play was made based on this diary, and that play, it won the Pulitzer Prize. So it was highly acclaimed. And in 1967, it was adopted for the TV. And before that, in 1959, a film was made in the US based on this diary. So this diary of Annie Frank, wherein she mentions different stages of her life, we have different entries there with the dates mentioned. This became very popular, was published in 30 countries, and then a film was made out of it, a drama was made out of it, and a TV serial also. It was adopted for TV in 1967. Then the building in which the family of Annie Frank, they hid themselves, it was also made into a memorial. And then the school, the Montessori school where Annie Frank learned, she studied, the name of that school was changed, and the school was designated as the Annie Frank School. So overall, in nutshell, what you will get to see in this diary, there will be different entries, the dates will be mentioned, and we'll get to know about the personal life of Annie Frank, we'll get to know about her emotions, we'll get to know about her family, we'll get to know about her friends, we'll get to know about the war situation at that time, we'll get to know the hardships that Jews had to face, we'll get to know about the cruelties, we'll get to know about the discrimination they had to face in the hands of Nazis. So let's quickly move on to the text. Today we are going to read the first entry in the diary, that is on page number 33. So please take out page number 33. So as you can see, there is an entry over it, on top of it, that is Saturday 20th June 1942. It was the time when Second World War was, ongoing. I haven't written for a few days because I wanted first of all to think about my diary. So you have to understand that this diary is being written by Annie Frank. It's an odd idea for someone like me to keep a diary. Not only because I have never done so before, but because it seems to me that neither I, nor for that matter anyone else, will be interested in the unbosomings of a 13-year-old schoolgirl. Now, I didn't have this idea of writing a diary because I felt that no one will be interested in the musings, and no one will be interested in the happenings of a 13-year-old girl. Whatever is happening in the life of a 13-year-old girl, no one will be interested. That's the reason I have not written the diary till yet. Still, what does that matter? I want to write. That doesn't matter. I want to write. But more than that, I want to bring out all kinds of things that lie buried deep in my heart. So she expresses the first reason that she wanted to write a diary. First, she was hesitant because she felt that no one will read this diary, no one will care about what is happening in the life of a 13-year-old. But then it doesn't matter to her. She would write this diary and she would express her feelings, she would express her emotions in this diary, whatever is lying hidden in her heart. There is a saying that paper is more patient than man. It came back to me on one of my slightly melancholy days. Melancholy means sad. While I sat chin in hand, feeling too bored and limp even to make up my mind whether to go out or to stay at home. Yes, there is no doubt that paper is patient, and as I don't intend to show this cardboard covered notebook bearing the proud name of diary to anyone unless I find a real friend, boy or a girl, probably nobody cares. And now I come to the root of the matter. The reason for my starting a diary, it is that I have no such real friend. No, at that particular age, when a person is 13 or a 14 years old, they are in need of a friend whom they would share their secrets, they would share their feelings. But Annie Frank, as such, she does not have any friend. So she will make this diary her friend, and she'll pour out the feelings from her heart into this diary. Let me put it more clearly. Since no one will believe that a girl of 13 feels herself quite alone in the world. She is quite alone in the world. Nor is it so. I have darling parents. Now this paragraph is very important. She says that she is not alone as such. She has darling parents who love her, and a sister of 16. I know about 30 people whom one might call friends. She has 30 friends. I have strings of boyfriends anxious to catch a glimpse of me and who, failing that, peep at me through mirrors in class. I have relations, aunts and uncles who are darlings too. I have aunts and uncles and they are also loving towards me. A good home. No, I don't seem to lack anything. But it's the same with all my friends, just fun and joking, nothing more. But with all these relations, with my parents or with my friends, I don't share an emotional bond. I don't share something like which would be able to make me express my feelings. It is not that sort of a relationship. It is just a relationship based on fun and joking. I can never bring myself to talk of anything outside the common round. We don't seem to be able to get any closer. That is the root of the trouble. So there is nothing like emotional connect with all these relations. Perhaps I lack confidence, but anyway, there it is, a stubborn fact, and I don't seem to be able to do anything about it. And that is the stubborn fact, that is the real fact, that I don't have this emotional sort of relationship with all these friends. Hence, this diary, in order to enhance my mind's eye the picture of my friend for whom I have waited so long, I don't want to set down a series of bald facts in a diary like most people do, but I want this diary itself to be my friend. I want this diary to be my friend. I want this diary to know about my inner feelings. I don't want to set down a series of bald facts in a diary like most people do, but I want this diary itself to be my friend, and I shall call my friend Kitty. And from now onward, she will call this diary Kitty, because she has now declared that this diary is her friend, and she will call this diary Kitty. Remember this. No one will grasp what I am talking about if I begin my letters to Kitty just out of the blue. So, albeit is although unwillingly, I will start by sketching in brief the story of my life. So first she will talk about her own life. My father was 36 when he married my mother, who was then 25. So obviously her father, she was way older than her mother. My sister Margaret was born in 1926 in Frankfurt am Main. Frankfurt is in Germany. I followed on June 12, 1929. This is the date when Annie Frank was born. And as we are Jewish, we emigrated to Holland. We emigrated to Netherlands in 1933, where my father was appointed managing director of Travis N.V. This firm is in close relationship with the firm of Colon and Company in the same building, of which my father is a partner. So his father, he was given a job in a firm. The rest of our family, however, felt the full impact of Hitler's anti-Jewish laws. All of our family members, we face this anti-Jewish, we face these anti-Jewish laws made by Hitler. So life was filled with anxiety. This was the case with all of the Jews at that time, because Hitler's party, they were after them, they wanted to kill them, so their life was full of anxiety. In 1938, after the uh, pogroms. Well, look, now this is very important. This pogrom, these are violent riots, and they were aimed at the expulsion of Jews. They wanted Jews to be expelled. So this was happening. These violent riots were happening at that time, and they wanted these Jews to be killed. In 1938, after the pogroms, my two uncles, my mother's brothers, escaped to the USA. So their relatives, they moved to USA. My old grandmother came to us. She was then 73. After May 1940, good times rapidly fled. After 1940, the situation, it became worse. First the war, obviously the World War II, then the capitulation. Capitulation means surrender, followed by the arrival of the Germans, which is when the sufferings of us Jews really began. That is the time after 1940 that the real sufferings of the Jews began, because they were put in the concentration camps, and millions of Jews, they were killed. Anti-Jewish decrees followed each other in quick succession. Laws were passed which made life miserable for Jews. Jews must wear a yellow star. They were made to wear a yellow star. Jews must hand in their bicycles. They would not use bicycles. Jews are banned from trams, passenger vehicles. They were banned from them, and are forbidden to drive. They are forbidden to drive. Jews are only allowed to do their shopping between 3 and 5 o'clock. So their shopping time, it was reduced to only 2 hours, from 3 to 5. And then only in shops which bear the placard Jewish shops, and they were made to shop only in the Jewish shops, and which had a placard on them which mentioned that it is a Jewish shop. Jews must be indoors by 8 o'clock. Such was their life that they were made to be indoors after 8 o'clock. They were not allowed to move out. and cannot even sit in their own gardens after that hour. Such was the miserable condition of Jews that they would not be able to sit in their own gardens after 8. Such were the strict laws. Jews must be indoors by 8 o'clock and cannot even sit in their own gardens after that hour. Jews are forbidden to visit theaters, cinemas, and other places of entertainment. For them, all the entertainment, it was banned. Jews may not take part in public sports. Swimming baths, tennis courts, hockey fields, and other sports grounds are all prohibited to them. For them, everything was prohibited. Jews may not visit Christians. Jews must go to Jewish schools, and many more restrictions of a similar. So it was an authoritarian sort of a regime, and these laws, they were all against human liberty. They were all against this human dignity. So we could not do this and were forbidden to do that. But life went on in spite of it all. Jopi used to say to me, "You're scared to do anything because it may be forbidden." Our freedom was strictly limited, yet things were still bearable. Their freedom was curtailed, but somehow they managed to live their lives. Granny died in January 1942. No one will ever know how much she is present in my thoughts and how much I love her still. So she had a good bond with her grandmother, but unfortunately she died in 1942 and she still remembers her till date. In 1934, I went to school at the Montessori kindergarten and continued there. It was at the end of the school year, I was in Form 6B, when I had to say goodbye to Mrs. K. We both wept. Mrs. K would have been a teacher and she had to say goodbye to her, and they both wept. It was very sad. In 1941, I went with my sister Margaret to the Jewish secondary school, she into the 4th form and I into the 1st. Because she was elder to her, she was put in the 4th form, and Annie Frank, she was put in the 1st. That was the time that they had to flee from their place. So far everything is all right with the 4 of us, and here I come to the present day. Now in the first entry we get to witness about the background, about the life, about the biography of Annie Frank. But after this date, we'll get to know about the present situation of Annie Frank. She will write about her life during and after the time they went into hiding. She will write it before they went into hiding in that warehouse, and during that time, what happened with them, how Nazis, they were after them. So in the first entry, we get to know about her early life. We get to know about why she is writing this diary. She's writing this diary just to express her own feelings. She's trying to search for a friend, because as we know that she has many friends, but she does not have an emotional bond with any one of them. So in a way, she makes this diary her friend, and she addresses her as Kitty. So from now onwards, she will address this diary as Kitty. And if you can see from the next page, on page number 34, she will address this diary as Dear Kitty. From now onwards, this diary will be her friend. So I think this is it for today. The second entry, we are going to discuss it tomorrow. Meanwhile, if you have any confusion, you can tell me. Any questions? Any question you have? Yes, ask. So I believe everything is clear. शाहिद सर, उर्दू में बोलो सर. थोड़ा सा मैं ये बता दूं आपको कि ये जो डायरी ऑफ एनी फ्रैंक है, ये एक 13 ईयर ओल्ड जो एक गर्ल है, एनी फ्रैंक, शी इज़ अ ज्यूइश गर्ल, वो अपनी स्टोरी जो है बयान करती है. तो डायरी राइटिंग ऑब्वियसली क्या होती है, डायरी राइटिंग जो है उसमें एक इंसान जो है, डायरिस्ट जिसको हम कहते हैं, वो अपनी पर्सनल फीलिंग्स को एक्सप्रेस करता है. एंट्री के तौर पे डे टू डे डायरीज भी होती है, ट्रैवल डायरीज भी होती है, फूड डायरीज भी होती है। तो जो भी आपके अंदर फीलिंग्स है वो आप उसमें एक्सप्रेस करते हैं। सो एक सेंस से डायरी जो है वो आपकी एक फ्रेंड होती है, जहाँ पे आप पूरी तरह से अपने जो भी आइडियाज़ है, जो भी फीलिंग्स है, उसमें आप एक्सप्रेस करते हैं। तो ये सेम केस यही है जो जो एनी फ्रैंक है, वो भी एक डायरी मेंटेन करती है, मगर किस एज में? एट द एज ऑफ 13, बहुत ही यंग एज में। और वो ये कहती है कि मेरे काफ़ी सारे फ्रेंड्स हैं, मेरे पेरेंट्स भी लविंग हैं, मगर कोई ऐसी रिलेशन उनके साथ नहीं है, एक इमोशनल टाइप ऑफ बॉन्ड नहीं है उनके साथ कि मैं अपनी फीलिंग्स को एक्सप्रेस करूं। तभी जाकर वो एक डायरी जो है मेंटेन करती है और उसमें अपनी फीलिंग्स को एक्सप्रेस करती है। आज जो हमने पहली एंट्री देखी इसमें, वहां पे वो कहती है कि मैंने ये डायरी क्यों बनाई? मैंने ये डायरी इसलिए बनाई क्योंकि मैं चाहती थी अपनी फीलिंग्स को एक्सप्रेस करना। मैंने ये डायरी, इसको मैंने नाम रखा है किटी, तो आगे से वो इसको एड्रेस करेगी एज किटी। तो उसके बाद ये अपनी लाइफ की स्टोरी बताती है, मैं कब पैदा हुई, मेरे फादर कब जॉब पे लगे, मेरी सिस्टर कितनी बड़ी थी, और हमें कब अपना घर जो है छोड़ना पड़ा, क्योंकि नाज़ीज जो थे, जो एडोल्फ हिटलर की पार्टी थी, वो हमारे पीछे थे, क्योंकि वो नहीं चाहते थे कि जो ज्यूज है वो जिंदा रहे। दे ही वांटेड देम टू बी किल्ड, बिकॉज नाज़ीज जो है, जर्मन्स जो है, वो अपनी रेस को सुपीरियर मानते थे और वो ज्यूज को इन्फीरियर मानते थे। तो उस सेंस में इस डायरी में हमें ये देखने को मिलेगा कि ज्यूज के साथ कैसा सलूक हुआ। ज्यूज को 8 बजे के बाद घर से बाहर नहीं निकलने दिया जाता था, उनके लिए शॉपिंग टाइम्स को कर्टेल किया जाता था, उनके लिए थिएटर्स बंद थे, सिनेमाज बंद थे, और हर एक चीज़ जो उनकी लाइफ जो है मिजरेबल बनाने की कोशिश की जाती थी। तो वही सारी चीज़ें जो है हम इस डायरी में देखेंगे, और हम ये देखेंगे कि एक 13 ईयर ओल्ड, उसकी क्या फीलिंग्स है, वो किस दौर से गुजर रही है, किन फीलिंग्स से, और वो चाहती है कि ह्यूमन बीइंग को अपनी आइडेंटिटी दी जाए, अपनी डिग्निटी दी जाए, और ह्यूमन फ्रीडम को आप कभी मत कर्टेल कीजिए। तो इंशाल्लाह टुमारो विल कंटिन्यू दिस। तो तब तक आई विल टेक लीव फ्रॉम यू। थैंक यू एंड गुड बाय।